Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is the Monday painting video. Now what is the Monday painting video all about? Well, from last week's Weekly Wednesday, which is a weekly Q&A, I show you guys a host of models and you guys vote on what you want to paint for Monday's painting video. So that's the gist of today's video. For all my regulars here, guys, I feel love, thank you very much. I'll see you in a minute. As you can see, this huge monstrosity is in front of me. This guy, Angron, run the vote, and it's an absolutely beast of a sculpt. Absolutely amazing. There's so much detail on it. There's more detail on it I can see now that I didn't see when I was building him. Like all the skulls hanging off him, and there's so much little detail you don't actually see until it's sitting before you in undercoated, primed, ready to go. So I've undercoated it black, and I've still leaves and dragged the base, the gravel on the base. Yeah. Now, the first thing I'm going to do with this model is I'm going to hit it with the airbrush, Khorne red in the airbrush, and I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to put it on hyperlapse so you can see it, and I want to get all the armor panels. Okay, I want to get all the skin with the fur. There's some fur there. I don't want to get the fur, but I want to get the bottom part of the fur. Okay, I'm not sure about the wing flaps yet. I might go with that as anyway, but that's what I'm heading. The tail, everything basically, apart from even the bits on his shoulder pads, even though they're going to be painted gold afterwards, I still want to get them with the red. But things like his weapons, I'm not too sure about that yet. I might go crazy and just start doing that. So what I'm going to do now, before I start set up the airbrush, so I'm going to say, but you've done the base, so when you spray it, it's going to hit the steel drab. That's part of the plan. I want it to have like a red glow to it, because I can always go back afterwards and give a little dry brush of steel and drab to bring it up to the sort of browny colour again. But I want it to look really like, when I say blood soaked, I might even go with the special paint I have to make it look like blood. I'm not sure, but for the minute I'm going to airbrush it, and then I can go over that again afterwards. So I'm going to get the airbrush set up and then start airbrushing, and you'll see me do some bits and pieces on it, and then I'll come back to you afterwards. Right, I got a little bit carried away there. I forgot I was filming. But here we are so far. Now, I didn't get the effect on the base that I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little bit of red spray down there, but it doesn't matter. Here we are so far. Now, this light does not help me because it makes the paint look orange. It's not, it's actually Khorne red. It's looking good. I started trying to accentuate, is that the right word? I was trying to highlight with the airbrush, but when I say highlight, just keep going over the same bits again and again, so they lighten them up even more. But I tell you what, there's some amount of detail on this model. It's just absolutely shocking. I didn't do the wings, so I'm not too sure about the wings yet. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave it to dry for a little while. I'm going to go and clean the airbrush out and then come back and decide what else I'm going to do next. So one thing I forgot to say, because this is a big model, if I'm out of focus or if I'm slightly off camera, do forgive me. I will try and keep you up to date with what I'm doing here and what's going on. just because it is such a huge model. I've got the camera arm back as far as it can go, and it's still haven't got the whole thing of him in shot. Right, so my wet palette to start off with is as follows: Carrick Stone, airbrush version, and Euphran Grey. Is that Euphran Grey? Yeah. I'll show you the paint in case I'm pronouncing it wrong. So I'm going to start off with, it's tearing me, I'm going to start off with the Carrick Stone. Right, so Carrick Stone, and I'm going to give it, it's a layer paint, so I'm going to give it a once over. Is it a layer paint? No, it's an airbrush paint, sorry. And I'm going to give it a once over all of this stonework. I want to avoid as many of the skulls as possible, which may be impossible because there's so many of them. I'm using a big brush because I need to get as much of this covered as quickly as possible because there's so much of it. Don't panic, I'm not going to show you every single millimetre that I do of it. I'm going to just give you the gist of what I'm doing. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go camera out and do the rest of this stonework. Right, so as you can see, I've got a few of the skulls by accident. There's just so many of them. But what I wanted is to have this sort of mad effect where it's sort of the brown, but at the same time saying there's bits of black coming through. Anyway, now I'm going to go Euphran Grey, and I'm going to paint all of the membranes on the wings. Get all of the wings with it. So get all the wings with it, even though the bits in between. Again, you're not going to do this on camera, you'll see it off camera. I mean, I'm not going to do all of it on camera, I'm going to go off camera now and do the rest. Right, so there we are. I actually like that. On the bits up here, let me just clean this brush down for a second. On this top bit up here, on the bottom, when I was airbrushing it, I airbrushed the horn red a little bit, not the whole thing, just the bottom bit, and then I did the Euphran Grey, just flicked it across the top. It's giving me that nice little blending effect. Wow. It's just absolutely insane with two colours already. So I'm going to leave it to dry for a minute and come back for the next colours. Now I'm going to come in with some Druky Violet shade, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of the wings, and just wash all the wings down without breaking anything off the model because it's a big bad boy. And I'll wash all the rings down. Yeah, I'm not going to do the spikes up here. I'm just going to do all these wings. So I'm going to go off camera and do all of that. So you don't need to see me doing that on camera. So here we are. Looks absolutely fantastic. Still a bit wet, as you can see. I have to keep turning it around because otherwise it just keeps pulling in one area. Look carefully, you can see it start to move down slowly. Just in that area there, see it pulling down. But got some tissue here, so when it starts pulling into one area, and just push it in and let it soak up a little bit of it. I quite like the purple. Really contrasts the red. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some Screaming Skull on the wet palette, and I'm going to go around and do every single skull. There's skulls all hanging off his chest here. There's skulls all on the base. There's skulls here. There's skulls everywhere. He's even got skulls hanging off the top of his wings here, look. So I'm going to go around and do all of those. You don't need to see me do them on camera because I'm just giving it a quick once over with some Screaming Skull. And then I'll come back to you for the next part. I'm actually going to do as well all of the bones sticking out of his tail here. And the ones up here, I should have done with the grey, but I'm going to do that with the Screaming Skull as well. It's a monumental task, but I'm going to get it done. I'll come back to you when it's done. Right, so here we are. You can see just one little thin coat of Screaming Skull and they all pop. Yeah, one thing I like, let's pick it, this one at the back here. When I sprayed the Khorne red, this got the skull as well. So look at the camera. So it looks a bit reddy, like when it looks to be covered in like red fresh kill. Across there, there's some in there. This is still soaking wet. Keeps dripping off, so I have to just keep holding it and turning it. This side looks like it's still wet. It's shiny. But I think those purple wings are absolutely fantastic. Now I'm just contemplating what type of dry brush to do on it and what I'm going to do with the bones up here, the ridges up here, and wow. Actually I missed the skull hanging off of him. So anyway, I'm going to get those few skulls hanging off his wings, so I missed those. And then I'll come back to you for the next part. So here are the wings all dry. Looking absolutely fantastic. I think that's such a great contrast to the red. The skulls look nice as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some lead belcher onto the wet palette, and then I'm going to start locking in the weapons and anything that I think is going to be metallic on there. Start locking that in, ready for the next stage. So here's where we're at now. So now I'm going to come with some Rhinox hide, and I'm going to get in and do these little leather straps he has everywhere. What I'm also going to do is come into where the fur is. But see how I've done the red at the bottom? I'm actually just going to go with the Rhinox hide just above that. Just give it a really dark look. I'm going to do that with all the fur and all the leather straps, including his belt. But like there's some amazing fur down here by his feet. I'm going to come in and get that all with Rhinox hide. I'm going to have camera and do the rest of it. Let's give you a quick look at the silver. Lead belcher, sorry. The Screaming Skull and the little bones on the pattern in there. Yes, I've done the leather strapping on him. The fur in that doesn't look much different. You can see a slight difference in it. Nothing too over the top. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back in with some Screaming Skull, and I'm going to start highlighting all of these stoneworks. So I'm going to do the raised areas, if we can get in there, yeah, see that bit there? So I'm going to run it along the edge. Just try and just highlight it up. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just getting it ready for the next stage. It is a layer paint, so it will go on thick and dull itself down. So there's no panic. Get all those edges, all those really sharp edges. So as that dries off, it's going to be really a little bit different. They're going to come in with the next colour after that, so I'm going to crack on with the rest of that. Come back to you again when I've done that. Right, so what I've actually done, I come with some Screaming Skull into these little skulls in there. That's what they are. See them? Actually, fantastic detail. But I run a little bit of water down Screaming Skull in there, and sort of flicked it past the point of the little top piece there, flicked it out a little bit. I did the same on the other side. Now that's getting that ready for contrast paint. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to come in with some rattling grime. Okay, yeah, I like this, guys. Those of you that knew will be like, oh, this is quite an interesting technique. Now remember the stone, like knocking the wings off the camera. The ends of those stones look absolutely amazing. So I'm going to come in with some rattling grime, and I'm going to push it into the stone. So I'm going to cover all of the stone bits. Now the bits that I did with the screaming skull are going to stay lighter. You can always come back in afterwards with some white scars. I'm going to crack on and do the rest of this stonework. Oh, the wings, sorry guys, that's the wings hitting the camera. Well, the base is still, sorry, the base is still wet, but it's looking absolutely fantastic. So I can always come over with some white scars, give it a touch up. Now I've got some, what is this? Doomfire Magenta. It's a lovely, really purpley colour. I'm going to come across the blade, all the silver on the blade. I'm going to run it down to where I did the white scars. So I want it to get into a little nook and cranny there, because that will dry lighter, because I did a light colour underneath. You can already see that's looking absolutely fantastic. Then if with this sword, the contrast paint will try and run down it. So I just need to be very careful. Not only, I haven't finished his armour yet either, but not only is that looking like a menacing weapon, it's really starting to, this area here is really starting to come to its own. Touch up here and there, just to make sure I get into the little bits so there's no white bits sticking out. So I'm going to have to leave that to dry for a minute. Put it on in a minute, but leave that to dry and make sure that nothing starts pulling down towards the bottom. I'll come back to you then for the next piece. Right, so now I'm going to move on to some weapon bronze from Army Painter Paints. And what I'm going to do with this colour, I'm going to start breaking up a little bit of the everything that's there. So like the hilt of the sword here, I'm going to paint in. Now you could come in and use retributor armour here, but I don't want to use retributor armour on the sword, as if possible, because he's going to have all plates on his arms and stuff. So, and plus I can see what this bronze is like. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to pick out some of the axe, this part of the axe, and the hilt of the axe. That's probably going to be it. There might be a few little bits and pieces here and there that I come across, but for the minute I'm just going to crack on with that, and I'll come back to you when I've done it. That's actually a really nice colour. It's meant to be brass, but it looks very goldish. Very, very nice colour. See what the colour's called again. It's weapon bronze is called. That looks absolutely fantastic. I also did his belt. I went over to the brand and did his belt, just to give you a little look-see. I actually might Do I do this or should I go Retribute Armor? See, what I'm thinking now, if I do Retribute Armor, it's going to be a different shade to this, but I like this. I really like it. It's really nice. I am going to do Retribute Armor just because I know how the colour works and I like it. And it'll give me a different tone on the model and break it up even more. It's a different tone. I don't know what I'm talking about, different tone. They'll break it up even more. So I'm going to get that ready on the wet palette and start working away. So I've done this one arm. Yeah, this is how it looks. So that's the copper, that's the gold. It looks very, very similar. But there is a difference between, so you can see a difference. The Retribute Armor is brighter than the copper. But I'm going to crack on and do the rest of him with this Retribute Armor and come back to you when I've done all the panels. Right, for all intensive purposes, apart from his teeth, this guy's done. But now, he's about ready. Now I'm going to take it to the next stage. And I've got some Mephiston red. I'm going to start with that. And I apologise for the noise in the background. The farmer's been moving bales around. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to edge highlight this sword. Mephiston red. I'm going to carry on with that camera. So here we are. Absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with some Wazdaka red, and I'm going to look at the skin. That's all I'm going to do is the skin. I want to get the most raised areas with that Wazdaka red, just to really give him a crazy highlight. Now Wazdaka red is a layer paint, so it will go on bright and dull itself down. There's no panic there, guys. I want to get all the skin and the muscle, like this bit in here, just to break it up from the armour is the goal. So I'm just going to do this one last little crazy bit here. So I'm not covering it totally, I'm just giving it a nice little once over like that. So there's still a Khorne red coming through, but the Wazdaka red breaks it up. So I'm going to go off camera and do the rest of this monstrosity off camera, and I'll come back to you when it's done. Well, I absolutely love this. Now I'm not sure about these bits on these wings. I might leave that white. I do apologise for the noise in the background. I've got some white scars white, and I'm going to gently dry brush his teeth. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a minute or two, see hopefully they'll finish. I'm going to come in with some Genestealer purple, and I'm going to give all of this a dry brush, the spiny bits on top. Now I'm going to come in with some white scars. This is where the fun starts. I don't know if I'm going to mess this up now, but I'm going to go for it anyway. And we are going to dry brush the bones and the membrane. But they could actually be here for another hour or so, so I'm just going to have to soldier through. I do apologise about the noise again. So after the dry brush on the wings, I dry brush the skulls, the rock, and just use the last bit of white along the tips of the spikes. Got the fur a little bit, and I gave the leather a little touch of white scars. Now, thank you everyone for voting for this model. It's been a joy and a nightmare at the same time. I'm glad it's painted now. I hope I've done it some sort of justice because of the time delay. If you're not subscribed to the channel, guys, hit the subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing. And turn your notifications on so you don't miss anything. For everyone else, you know, I really appreciate you supporting the channel for as long as you have, and you know, thank you for watching all the videos. I'm going to bring you down and show you some pretty pictures. And again, sorry this video was late. It's a bit off a bit more I could chew, and hopefully I've done it justice. So until next time, guys, pretty pictures, but until next time, take it easy.